So we are going to get started in a couple minutes. So please get your coffee and sort of settle in. We are still seeing people trickling in. So I just want to give them a couple of minutes. Okay, we are about ready to start. Folks who are getting some coffee, if you settle in. So good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us at the town hall in person. I'm looking at, less than 75 people, but thank you for coming. The weather being what it is, we have a good turnout in the live stream. So thank you for joining us. And before we start this town hall, I want to take a moment and express our condolences and deep sympathy to our colleagues and friends and the loss of life that happened on Monday this week at Michigan State. It is deeply concerning, but we express our sympathy. We are with them. And for those who are injured, are recovering, our prayers are with you. And also for all of the people who are emotionally recovering from that tragic event, our sympathies and our prayers are with you. So thank you very much for joining this town hall. This town hall has a very simple outline. So let me frame it this way. We started the strategic transformation September 23rd of last year. And we got to the strategic transformation because of a challenge, an enrollment challenge, right? But you've heard, and it is true, that every challenge presents an opportunity. So although we got started on this transformation because of the challenge, we must fully exploit the opportunity in front of us. And that opportunity is to reposition the university for the future, for the students, for our faculty and staff, for the community. The landscape is changing rapidly. And by landscape, I mean higher education landscape, societal landscape, the needs of the state and the businesses, the competitiveness of the state and the country. We live in a fast-paced world. So this strategic transformation process is an opportunity, a unique opportunity, once in a 50 years maybe, opportunity for UM-Flint to transform itself for the future such that we become programmatically competitive, aligned with the needs of the state and the community, and a vibrant institution, no matter what the enrollment is. We live in a state where we know there is a declining enrollment, and we have goals that we will try to achieve. But I want us not to lose the importance of this opportunity that is in front of us. So that said, I don't know what you're expecting from this town hall. Let me frame it the following way. All of the faculty have heard from their deans and leadership. So you have seen your school and college plans. There's been 6 town halls across all the units. So you know pretty much what your school or college is offering or proposing as a part of this transformation. So instead of us repeating to you and giving you a long list of degree programs and so on and so forth, what we decided to do is to take a higher level view. So not to lose the forest for the trees, we want you to imagine. We want you to imagine what UM-Flint as an institution could be like after this transformation. So in this transformation, you will see the contours of that institution through the academic lens. As I've said many times before, after the academic piece comes to a close, we will be entering into the support services, academic and non-academic, which is a very important part. But today, try to imagine yourself what this institution looks like academically as you hear your deans and our provost give you an outline. The details, you all know what your school and college has shared with you. So we are not going to repeat that. So with this, let me invite our folks from Huron. They have been our partners. They have done a lot of work. What they will do is synthesize the 3 buckets: the market analysis, the stakeholder engagement, what they have heard, and the program economics. That gives you a holistic picture, and under this umbrella is what all the schools and colleges have proposed, what they have proposed. So with that, Gina.
Thank you, Chancellor Dutta. I am pleased to be here to really follow up on what was presented in December, in the December town hall, where we summarized what had come out of the engagement to date and how we were really bringing together the information that would feed into this synthesis. So to start, I want to introduce exactly what the synthesis is. So as we're going to hear today, the synthesis of information is the bringing together of all of the input, feedback, ideas, concerns, and thoughts from the community, and that's various constituent groups, and then pairing that with the market analysis that was performed and the course economics. So we're not only thinking about how saturated the market is, what opportunities there are, what student interest there is around certain departments or programs, but we're also pairing that with revenue generation and thinking about the balance of revenue across units and programs, and not losing sight of what we're hearing from the community. So we've heard Chancellor Dutta say a couple of times in the past that we really need to think about what's right for UM-Flint. and not only look at the economics, not only look at the enrollment, but balance all of those together. So when you pull everything together and come up with the full picture, that's what you're going to see through the synthesis that's presented today. But I want to take a moment first to start with what more we've heard and how do we think about the overall themes that have emerged from the engagement. So in December, we had already performed quite a bit of engagement opportunities or brought forward opportunities for students, staff, faculty, community members, employers, and alumni to offer their voice and let us know what they're thinking about the future for UM-Flint and how it can be successful. We've continued that engagement through January and into February. So we've talked to more students, we've held some open forums, we've reached out to school district superintendents and been able to hear not only what opportunities lie in education for UM-Flint graduates, but also how UM-Flint can be appealing and a desired space for students to attend college. So after we take all of that engagement, bring it together, these are some high-level themes across all of the constituent groups. In December, you saw that broken out by constituent groups. Now we're really starting to see what rises to the top overall. So I'm going to speak about these not in order, and you can certainly read the slide while I'm speaking or afterward. But first, talking about marketing, and this is something that consistently was brought up. How do we tell the UM-Flint story? How do we ensure that people know what's special about this institution, about this campus, and about the community that's in place? Also, how do we make sure that everyone knows about the programs that we offer at UM-Flint? What opportunities are there that have been successful? What opportunities will allow students to earn a degree that makes them marketable upon graduation? Experiential learning. And this was a statement that came forth from students directly. Students appreciate the opportunities that they receive in their UM-Flint classes, the fact that they get to go into the community, they get to apply what they're learning, and they get those experiences that really round out their time here as a student prior to graduation. That's a direct link to any academic programs that are developed, enhanced, or built out even further. Community outreach and partnerships I'm going to talk about together because it really allows us to see that community partners, organizations, employers, schools, they're looking for the chance to have more formal and intentional partnerships with UM-Flint. That's not to say it's not already happening, because it is. So people spoke about the fact that they appreciate the direct relationships that they build, particularly with individual faculty members, and they're just hoping that the institution will more formalize that those opportunities to have relationships and formal partnerships and be able to make sure that they're lasting. So, if you think about it, if you have a direct contact and that contact moves away, goes to another institution, how can they make sure that those relationships are maintained? So being very intentional about the opportunities to connect, the opportunities for organizations to come on campus and hold their programs, and for people on campus to go out into the community and be a part of community programs. So that, I think particularly when Chancellor Dutta was talking about the things that will be looked at after the academic review, that'll be something that you'll want to make sure you keep in mind. And then finally, the student experience. So look at campus. How can we make sure that campus is welcoming? How can we make sure that students have opportunity to be involved in organizations, have leadership opportunities, and really feel like this is their home? Infrastructure is part of that as well. So are there things that need to be considered or reviewed around the infrastructure? One example is like naming of buildings or making sure that people know what entrance to go in to reach a particular event or activity. So these are, when you think about it in the holistic sense, this spans everywhere from telling the story to making sure that students can stay connected as alumni when they're part of local organizations and want to continue their relationships with the institution. All of these things rise to the top across the constituents that we spoke to in our engagement. So to now bring this to where we come to the summary and the full synthesis, infusing it into the portfolio analysis, the market analysis, and creating that picture for what's going to be successful for this campus. I'm going to bring my colleague up to discuss the academic side.
Thanks, Gina. Good morning. Good morning. We are awake. Well, I'm going to fix that in a minute by talking about market data. So as Gina mentioned, there have been 3 work streams going on in this process so far that Huron has helped to support: community engagement, market analysis, program economics review. Over the last several weeks, we've worked with the deans and various members of the community to help bring these 3 streams of work together and to try to understand them through a common lens, to help us understand what the relevant trends are out in the world that affect the institution and how the institution can identify its strengths and assets to leverage both of those and the external trends to create something that serves what students need, serves what employers need, on the basis of a foundation of strength, and also with the opportunity to build some new strengths in adjacent areas or in new areas potentially. So the framework we use to try to bring these 3 different streams of information together, we've called the balanced portfolio framework. And basically it involves looking at 5 different components of how UM-Flint's subject areas, in some cases programs, in some cases courses, have relative levels of demand or popularity within the student market, as well as how efficiently UM-Flint has been or could potentially deliver these programs to optimize the benefit of the expenditure of its resources in these spaces. So if we just double click for a minute on the different factors that we looked at, I think it's helpful to explain them individually, although I will emphasize that no single factor here is determinative. And in fact, it's by looking at the combination of factors, in fact, even sometimes the combination of all 5 factors, that's necessary to understand how to position a particular college, how to position a particular subject area, or how to position a particular program in the market. Again, and there are going to be multiple options for positioning. So there's no one output that any factor or factor combination suggests, but rather a range of considerations and questions. This exercise, to a certain extent, is a bit like a question generator. And it's been a pleasure to work with the deans and other members of the faculty leadership to help explore how this data can be understood, how it can be refined, and ultimately how it can form some high-level thesis statements to help academic leadership think about the opportunities for the future. So on the one hand, to start, we looked at employer need. And so this is based on understanding what labor projections indicate about jobs in the future. And in particular, where there are workforce gaps, where employers need employees, where employers need graduates, and institutions, the competitive landscape, UM-Flint among them, isn't producing enough. What this helps us show is where could there be opportunities for new programs to develop or existing programs to grow based on clear demand from employers. Again, it's one factor, not the only factor to think about in terms of whether programs are aligned to the market and whether they have the opportunity to grow. Similarly, market size looks at the total potential size of a market. So for example, there are many, many large popular programs that we can think about in the state and the region, many in liberal arts, many in social sciences, many in engineering. There are also much smaller programs, but that are still very important in the health sciences, in education, in human services. The fact that the market is a certain size plays a role in helping to think about what level of the market UM-Flint can serve, and then overall what level of the market and what share of the market various public providers can serve, so that they're balancing the need to meet student interest with the need to promote economic development and social mobility. Third, we look at program demand. Program demand is essentially the desire from students for degrees, for majors. What is the degree or the major that might cause a student to want to enroll at an institution versus course popularity? What are the courses that once a student's already enrolled in a major, enrolled in an institution, are those students enrolling in? Are there courses that are broadly popular, even if their majors aren't popular? Conversely, are there courses that are only popular within a major? That can help us understand how many sections of courses should be offered and the right positioning of a kind of offering within an institution's portfolio, whether it should be focused on being a major or whether it should be focused on being something complementary to other subject areas. And then finally, we look at the margin. What is this subject area able to do, or what has it done historically in terms of contributing financial resources or consuming them? So again, each of these 5 factors provides one way of looking at a subject area or at a program at an institution, as well as the portfolio overall. And it's really by looking at different combinations of the factors that we can derive some insights. And so for the purposes of today's discussion, and to tee up what the deans are going to talk to you about, what we wanted to do is summarize at a very high level what we think some of the strengths that each college has across these 5 areas, across these 5 factors. I'm going to touch on this very briefly, and then get out of the way so the deans can tell you the important information you came here to hear. For a minute on College of Arts and Sciences, this is a college that has very high course demand in areas that are very well aligned to what employers need. So we've heard from many members of the community and have talked to several employers as well as several faculty members who've emphasized the liberal arts are really important in terms of providing the kinds of skills that employers need around creativity, entrepreneurship, problem solving, and this bears out in the data. These are very well-aligned courses that are very popular with UM-Flint's current students, and you can anticipate they would continue to be very popular with students in a future UM-Flint where there are certain programs based on the generic trends that the market is seeing in terms of program enrollments. So what that highlights is a couple of strengths that CAS has considered in thinking about its future direction and how it could fit into the broader portfolio of UM-Flint in the future. Similarly, the College of Health Sciences also has some real strengths to leverage in this process, particularly in terms of its program demand and in terms of the margin that its programs produce. So the College of Health Sciences historically has produced very strong margins that can be used to support not only its programs, but the broader portfolio of the institution. And those programs have high levels of alignment to what healthcare employers and public employers throughout the state are looking for. And in particular, there are growing areas in the health sciences and public health that are very well aligned to projected future jobs. So the College of Health Sciences has really strong program demand and really strong margins that can be leveraged in the context of its future. The College of Innovation and Technology has very high program demand and course demand. As a newer college, in many cases, it's still scaling up. So the opportunity to realize the benefit of that high program demand and course demand will in part potentially address its ability to also produce higher margins and sustain the delivery of its programs, as well as the generation of new programs in these important spaces that students are interested in, that employers need in the broader UM-Flint portfolio. The School of Nursing operates in a very large and complex, highly regulated and competitive market. That said, the demand for more nurses is really significant, and the number of students that are seeking to go into nursing school remains very high. In fact, somewhere around 100,000 nursing students, qualified applicants to nursing school, are rejected every year because of capacity constraints that most schools face. So while the School of Nursing is in a very large, competitive, and complex market, there is a lot of demand from employers and students alike for its programs. And so it should be thinking about ways to differentiate within that large and crowded market. And some of what you'll hear from the Dean of the School of Nursing today relates to those opportunities and the ability for UM-Flint to leverage them to have an impact locally as well as more broadly across the state. The School of Education and Human Services, like many schools of education and human services across the state and throughout the country, are facing headwinds around the level of interest from students in programs. Teaching is not seen as the kind of desirable profession it once was, and so demand from students for programs is relatively low. So that means that there can be innovative approaches undertaken in order to try to generate some of that student interest, including partnership programs, grow your own, and some of the types of innovative opportunities that you'll hear Dean Kibitsky talk about today. And then finally, the School of Management, similar to the School of Nursing, operates in a very large, very competitive market with very high student demand and fairly high employer demand. So the key, again, similar to the School of Nursing situation, is how to leverage the fact that there's continuing high student demand in somewhat crowded spaces through differentiation to continue to deliver high margin programs that are interesting to students, that fit well within a balanced portfolio, but that do have a lot of competition in the market and that serve increasingly different and disrupted spaces. So interdisciplinary programs in business focused on health, but more specialized business programs. These are all factors for a business school to think about in order to sustain its enrollments into the future and to grow them in a way that aligns with the impact that the institution is trying to have. So that's just a little bit about what the assets that each school has, some of the headwinds or tailwinds they may be seeking to navigate as they map out a future. And then collectively across all 6 of these schools, how can the different constellation of assets that each has come together to inform what the balance of the portfolio at UM-Flint should look like in the best interests of students and the community more broadly. So with that, I will turn it over to the provost. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Nick. So good morning, everyone. At our December 2022 commencement ceremonies, Chancellor Dutta celebrated the success of our students that were graduating and encouraged them to dream big. He recounted the lived experiences of Stanley Crook, who grew up very poor and in untenable living conditions. Despite this reality, Dr. Crook went on to earn his medical degree as well as a PhD. And later, he invented a life-saving device that is used to this day, not only in this country, but around the world. Dr. Crook said, poverty isn't a lack of money. It is an inability to dream big. Here at the University of Michigan-Flint, we dare to dream big. With market analysis, stakeholder engagement, program economics, we have envisioned a bold, strategic, and transformative future that is like nothing this university has ever experienced before. Here at UM-Flint, we will become the destination of choice for today's students by offering degree programs that are in demand by business and industry. We will answer the call for a highly skilled workforce in health-related disciplines, polytechnic fields, business and industry, teacher education, and so much more. We will graduate students who are critical thinkers as a result of interdisciplinary dynamic programs using experiential learning, flexible delivery, and stackable credentials. We will help to transform the Flint community with the support of our faculty, our students, and our staff. And in doing so, we will positively impact families, communities, and ultimately the state of Michigan. So in what follows, our deans will share their dynamic strategic transformation plan that they co-created with their faculty, their staff, and related constituent groups. We will begin with the College of Innovation and Technology and conclude with the College of Health Sciences. Dean Pearson.
Thank you, Provost. Good morning, everyone. My first name is Chris. And as this first slide states, we're focused on the future. And at some level, why wouldn't we be? Our very first class was just 18 months ago. But this newness also allows us to be nimble and respond to the market with high demand degree programs in areas with outstanding career opportunities. However, it's the people in the picture that are even more compelling. They were in that first class 18 months ago. Now, Nyriel, the student in the foreground, is connecting with local manufacturers for a job. Opportunities are now available for her that she may not have even imagined as a possibility before. Creating opportunity is also how we focus on the future. The College of Innovation and Technology embraces a polytechnic tradition of workforce development through experiential project-based learning with authentic industry partnerships. We are distinct in the market by adhering to these traditions while focusing on the future with programs in cybersecurity, automation technology, software engineering, and others that are aligned with current and future market needs. Aligning to the market is where our authentic industry partnerships are critical. Our partners co-create experiences to ensure our graduates are the workforce that they are seeking. The evolution of CIT into a transformative leader in the polytechnic experience will drive economic growth in Flint, the Genesee County region, and the state of Michigan by engaging with champions of industry to create a sustainable next generation community through innovation and partnerships in research and education. ChatGPT. Seems like everyone's talking about this now. In fact, ChatGPT wrote this. No, it didn't actually, but I think some of you might have been thinking that. ChatGPT is driven by artificial intelligence, and as technologies like these continue to impact society and the workplace, A responsive workforce will require emotional intelligence, creativity, and critical thinking, characteristics honed by a liberal education. Cybersecurity, that is where it's been around longer. Most of you could probably give some type of definition of cybersecurity, what it is and why it's important. What you may not realize is the incredible shortage of cybersecurity professionals in the workforce. In the US, there are over 700,000 unfilled cybersecurity jobs. In Michigan, it's over 19,000. And in fact, there are only enough cybersecurity professionals in Michigan to fill 62% of the jobs within the state. The chip shortage that just came into the lexicon during the pandemic is proven to be a painful reminder of what happens when stuff is made elsewhere. I mean, take a look at yourself, look in your pockets. All this stuff had to be manufactured. In terms of chips, foreign manufacturing has led for decades. While it's inconvenient to not be able to buy a new car there because there isn't a chip, it can become a crisis when one region of the world controls nearly all of the production. Last year, $20 billion was invested in semiconductor manufacturing in Ohio. Chip manufacturing companies are also seriously considering Michigan for these opportunities. The EV transition, we've heard of it, it's happening, the move away from gasoline-powered cars. Earlier this week, Ford announced a $3.5 billion investment in a battery plant in Marshall, just 90 minutes from here. We must seize this generational opportunity of investments being made in battery and semiconductor manufacturing by ensuring that we're producing a talented workforce. One reason I'm very optimistic about our ability to do this comes from the growth observed in the undergraduate programs within CIT. Our programs in information technology, manufacturing technology, and cybersecurity, these are the new programs introduced by CIT, have grown by over 200%. Just as important, when the cybersecurity program started last fall, there was no decrease in the computer science enrollment. We were able to differentiate a new program, bring new students to UM-Flint with no negative impacts on the existing program. By developing new programs in support of these technologies, along with graduate programs in artificial intelligence and cybersecurity, CIT can be expected to double its enrollment and reach nearly 1,000 students with these 6 proposed programs. We all know that the population in Michigan is declining, and there are fewer people living in our region. As UM-Flint draws 80% of the students from within a 50-mile radius, we must also tap into new markets. International graduate students represent another tremendous opportunity. And the UM-Flint population has grown by over 175% in the past year. This is a viable market, but it comes with the recognition of necessary support structures, housing, internship opportunities, and more for our international students. With new programs aimed at existing and new technologies, along with expanding our international student population, not only will our enrollment increase, but our research volume will as well. A 20-fold increase in research volume is attainable. All of these factors point to a very bright future for the Flint campus, and more UM-Flint students will benefit like Niriel by experiencing opportunity. Thank you for this opportunity to share the CIT plan.
Good morning, I'm Dr. Garen Canigan, Interim Dean of the School of Management. I work full-time. Are your programs online? I'm an international student. My visa requires that I physically attend my classes. I live in Bay City. I cannot commute to campus, but prefer live online class sessions. My son didn't like online courses in high school. Do you have on-campus programs? These are some of the typical conversations we had at past recruitment events. Local students tend to work. They cannot all make it to the same day and time for a class. International students require in-person classes. Declining local high school population necessitates that we reach to a larger geography who cannot commute. Recent high school graduates had bad online experience during the pandemic. We cannot turn our backs to any of these student groups. At the same time, with limited resources, we cannot deliver each and every class in different modalities. What can be done? Flex delivery of courses can help meet each of these needs and preferences without forcing the students into an online course or into an in-person course, but giving them options to choose the modality that fits their learning style and their schedules. This delivery format will differentiate us from other business schools and will allow us to deliver our programs in scale using our faculty resources efficiently. The top picture is a hybrid classroom at Harvard Business School. Something like this requires investment. Looking deeper into the demographics, there's a growing market of adult learners. This represents a significant opportunity to serve these non-traditional learners. This group of students is most in need of flexible programs. They have busy lives with work and family obligations, but they need a degree for promotion. General business program offered in accelerated online format can help them advance in their careers. This is an age-old question. Is it better to be jack of all trades or a specialist? The generalist option is less defined, but it gives you flexibility in your career. You can easily transition into another area of business. Specialists have a more distinct and defined career path. You can specialize in finance, marketing, accounting, or another area of business. You put all of your energy and focus during your studies and career in this area. Specialization is important as it improves productivity and allows for higher salaries. Career advancement is just a matter of experience. As the level of education increases, more individuals with specialized skills are sought after. This is reflected in the trend data that we see. Degree conferrals in generic business programs have experienced declines for a while now. In contrast, student demand for programs in business is trending towards specialized programs. Hence, our plan includes shifting our resources from generic degrees towards specialized BS and MS degrees, and facilitating pathways from bachelor to master's program with BS-MS joint degrees. Specializations will include business fields with high projected job growth. These will increase our students' productivity and open door for career advancement. Specializations are not limited to within business. Technology is revolutionizing business processes. You just heard Dean Pearson mention ChatGPT, artificial intelligence. Let's not forget fintech. We don't know what the future technology is going to be, but I'm certain it will significantly affect the way businesses operate. We're planning to prepare our students for this environment with programs at the intersection of technology and business, as well as health and business. Developing and delivering these programs require investment. Excellent communication skills, public speaking, interpersonal communication, superior presentation and negotiation skills, strong time management and organizational skills, goal setting and strategic planning skills. According to Indeed.com, these are some of the typical qualifications in job posts for business professionals. Note that what companies are looking for goes beyond just a degree. Stackable credentials recognize bundled knowledge and skill sets, and if designed intentionally, they can make our graduates more marketable in the job market. Hence, our plan includes differentiating our programs further with program-embedded, stackable credentials on soft skills to better prepare our students for their careers, as well as exposing students in non-business programs to ins and outs of business operations with certificates on entrepreneurship and general managerial skills, which they too need for their career advancement in their fields. These also require investment. Market studies show that business programs have high demand intensity where job growth outpaces the rate at which universities produce graduates. In this competitive market, differentiation and value proposition are key to serve these students. Our plan rests on 3 pillars: providing flexibility in delivery formats, specialization in in-demand academic programs, coupled with stackable credentials on skills with focus on career preparation. I'm excited to share this resulting vision for the School of Management. This vision answers the questions of why students go to business schools and what their parameters are. We're proposing to transform our existing BBA and MBA programs to develop 8 BS, 3 MS programs to rebrand the school as the School of Business Choice for career-minded students looking for market-aligned programs with high workforce demand, is the School of Business Choice for busy students looking for flexible delivery options in how these programs are delivered. I hope you would agree that this plan deserves investment. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Doug Knurr, Interim Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, and I would like to pose this question. What does it take to ensure that UM-Flint students have the opportunity to participate in, meaningfully contribute to, and benefit from society? To fulfill and enrich the aspirations of our students is to enrich and fulfill the promise of our society. This is what it takes for our society to survive and to thrive in an increasingly complex world. And this is at the core of the commitment of the College of Arts and Sciences. From many sources in the college, several themes have emerged from my perspective, and I want to share a few of those. The first is a realization that politics, society, culture, and society are thoroughly entangled, and the liberal arts and sciences must be as well, threading like fine fabric through the disciplines. CAS intends to be the driver of an ecosystem where the benefits of the liberal arts and sciences proliferate across the institution and into our community. We do not apologize for the liberal arts. We clarify, though, with precision, the capacities, skills, and habits of mind that the liberal arts and sciences provide to prepare students for our future. The ideal of a comprehensive education is as old as learning itself, and it exists at UM-Flint and in CAS to serve the public good. Our disciplinary diversity, faculty expertise, and commitment to community engagement makes CAS perfectly situated to advance and scale our work in order to further distinguish ourselves in current markets and develop innovative programs for emerging markets, always while providing students with career-ready and perhaps more importantly, career-sustaining skills across their lifetimes. The college has responded with over 100 innovative ideas and proposals, too numerous to mention here. They cluster around 3 strategic intentions, the first of which is create new modalities, concepts, and program designs. We must meet students where they are, anytime, anywhere. We're here to be the difference between where our students are and where they want to be. Brief highlights here include creating and enhancing new market majors that fuse liberal and professional learning. Examples include programs in 3D digital design, arts and technology, computation, media and design, and green chemistry, to name but a few. We also propose to expand and scale successful fully online hybrid and low residency programs in majors such as psychology, economics, communication, foreign language, philosophy, and others. And we propose to establish a Center for Outreach with Data Science that creates an end-to-end experience to infuse data analytics across the curriculum and provide essential data services for our community. The second is create innovative interdisciplinary collaborations. We propose interdisciplinary programs in economics, political science, neuroscience, philosophy, music and art therapy, cultural heritage and history, labor studies, among others. We also propose fully engaging the digital humanities by establishing a digital scholarship lab that will expand the limits of traditional humanities by using computational methods to answer urgent questions about human culture, by creating and communicating new knowledge in a public context using human-centered design. The third is create pathways for success that prepare students for work, citizenship, and life. Exciting proposals include a culture, justice, and society major to center community justice. And I say again, community justice in sociology, anthropology, criminal justice, and women's and gender studies. Also a pre-law pathway with 3+3 degree programs with law schools and a public service pathway, including a Master Public Administration 3+2 program. Additionally, graduate mental health service degree pathways that include combined undergraduate and graduate study, 2+2 programs with the Ann Arbor campus, and integrated community college feeder programs. As well, a possible 3-year, year-round degrees, and certainly combined degrees with other academic units that offer exciting combinations that fuse diverse student interest with intention and purpose. CAS and UM-Flint will intentionally and with purpose prepare career-ready graduates with deep and connected knowledge of local and global challenges and opportunities, working in a resilient, diverse, vibrant community of individuals in the college and the university to become catalysts for positive and enduring change. CS graduates are creative, compassionate, and critical thinkers, maturing with a powerful sense of community that respects the views, experiences, and aspirations of each person. And they will live the University of Michigan tradition of excellence in the public interest, engaging in positive and constructive social, political, and economic change. How will we know we're successful? Our students will be the evidence of a stronger university, community, and society as a result of our actions and intentions. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Beth Kibitsky, and I'm the Dean for the School of Education and Human Services. And this transformation is so exciting, not just because of the opportunities it offers for our programs, but the fact that it shows that the University of Michigan is committed to the regional comprehensive component of our system, our students, our faculty, our staff, and the community in which we reside. That's what you were supposed to see. There, okay. So the vision for the School of Education and Human Services is preparing future leaders and innovators who are committed to advancing change, equity, and social justice in the communities that they serve. This fits with the mission of a regional comprehensive university, which part of it is to increase opportunity for a wide range of students, intentionally working towards righting inequalities in access and expanding the diversity of our student population. The programs and departments must support the community by both partnering with our regional and state entities in joint endeavors, as well as graduating students who can contribute to the community and also providing access for the members of the community. In addition, a regional comprehensive university develops expertise and knowledge with their partners about the areas that we're working, in this case, education and social work. And with our higher education colleagues, community members, and other stakeholders, we should develop and share this expertise to inform the state and local legislation about policies and rules. And that's what the regional part and the commitment involves. In the School of Education and Human Services, there are 3 main strategies that can drive this transformation while instantiating our commitment to this vision and to the mission of a comprehensive regional comprehensive. But first, partnerships are the linchpin for our work. Knowing what program areas or specializations are needed by the graduates to make a difference is essential. Which areas of endorsement for our teachers? What specializations for our social workers? In addition, sound partnerships can help us recruit, providing pathways for the students and the employees of our partners to come into our programs meeting the needs for future social workers and educators. Second, as mentioned earlier, we need to have strategic course offerings. As we redo our degrees and our major programs, are there courses that can be used for multiple majors? And how can we adapt our modalities to meet the needs of both those wanting face-to-face as well as online in order to make an efficient path for our students to be able to complete and meet their goals of graduating? And finally, the third strategy is intentionally examine what we learn from our partner community work and our own instruction and experience to be actively involved with decision makers, state and national, be it legislative or be it with our standards committees. As regional comprehensive, this is even more important as we are charged with serving the region and we have a responsibility to provide informed feedback to support decision makers. So we've used the data from the workforce analysis and community partners to identify specific needs. And guess what? Surprise, teachers and social workers are high needs for our partners. We've seen increasing enrollment and working with our P-12 partners and our K-12 partnership office, we are working towards creating a birth to 20 system. 20 is code for like the end of your doctoral degree in educationese. Preparing educators is a priority of the nation and the state and the region. The state of Michigan has actually dedicated almost over $500 million towards teacher preparation. We are actively engaged with individual schools, districts, intermediate school districts, and even a collaboration of 50 intermediate school districts with Grow Your Own for teacher educators. We are working towards dual enrollment with some high school students, as well as opportunity for school employees to then become teachers. And we are positioned very well with both our traditional undergraduate teacher preparation program, as well as our Masters of Arts in certification, which allows post-bachelor people to work towards their teaching certificate. We're adapting that program to be available both face-to-face and online to increase the availability. We are in the process of developing programs in high-need areas in partnerships with our Flint Community School District and the Genesee Intermediate School District, including a special education teacher preparation program. In education, we recently revised our 3 early childhood and elementary programs, are working on our secondary programs in partnership with the College of Arts and Science discipline courses. We are planning on looking at new programs with the College of Innovation and Technology and the School of Management and working towards that joint program with our partners with special ed. Our enrollment in education has increased over the last 3 years, and we expect with this investment in new programs, as well as the investment by the state in supporting teacher preparation, to continue to see the enrollment grow. Mental health challenges have also elevated since the advent of COVID, and we are found in a variety of areas from birth to the winter of life. Social work has also been identified as a critical area, reflecting the need for supporting people through these medical, community, and mental health challenges. We're in the process of designing an MSW program and looking at concentrations and specializations that will meet the needs of our students, of the community, and as well as the employers that will be hiring our social workers. We've collected that information by researching, surveying, and talking to students, and we look forward to those next steps. In addition, our bachelor's in social work is offered as an online program in order to increase accessibility and produce opportunities for non-traditional students to earn their bachelor's in social work. We anticipate the new programs will accelerate with growth. Both education and social work are working towards creating and expanding on relevant programs by adapting content and modes of instruction while expanding and solidifying this partnership. We are working on adding online opportunities that incorporate best practice while navigating meaningful clinical experiences for our students so they are ready when they graduate. We look forward to the continued refinement of existing programs and expansion of new and exciting programs in each department, guided by student and community needs and high quality, efficient curriculum as we work toward bettering our B20 system. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Cynthia McCurran, and I'm the Dean in the School of Nursing. I am very pleased to be before you today to share the transformational thinking from the School of Nursing. So let's start with a bit of humor. In this cartoon, you see two gentlemen in a heated argument. They happen to be hospital administrators. In the caption, the speaker notes to a nurse standing by, "Boy, you must be good. I've never seen two hospitals fight over a nurse." While this may cause a smile, actually, the message is quite serious. There is a workforce shortage crisis that's been impacted by the pandemic. Nurses have left the profession, and we have low projected rates of new nurses. This is complicated by accelerated retirements of the most experienced baby boomer nurses and the patient demand that's fueled by the nation's growing and aging population. And there are ongoing workplace challenges. All this is setting up projections of a shortage of nurses that will equal 1 million by 2030. As Huron has confirmed in their presentation, nursing is in high demand, but it is also in a very competitive space. We remain confident that enrollment in nursing can be expanded and that the career choices that are available with nursing degrees will remain robust and relevant. But we have a lot of work to do. We must distinguish ourselves. The foundation of the School of Nursing vision for the next 3 to 5 years lies in the opportunities. It's not just about numbers, it's about who we are. It starts with creating a culture. If I may share a short story for context. Lakeisha was 20 years old when she failed her second nursing course. She was dismissed from her nursing program, and her appeal for readmission was denied. She made an appointment with me as the dean. I reviewed her student file and noted that she had had a respectable academic record. So what had gone wrong? She arrived for her appointment, and 30 minutes later, a very humble, sincere, and tearful young lady had shared her story. She had a 2-year-old daughter she was trying to support by herself while she went to school. She was determined to become a nurse so she would have a career that could support her child. The child had multiple illnesses. She had lost her apartment, actually lived in her car for a period of time until an aging and ailing aunt had allowed her to move in, but she became a caregiver for that aunt. Simply stated, the social determinants of her life piled up. She wanted one more chance with the promise that she could do it. I believed in her. I made arrangements for a faculty mentor that she was to lean on in all difficult circumstances and connected her to resources. 10 years later, I am a dean in another school in another state, and I do a presentation at a national conference. After which, a young African-American nurse and doctoral student walks up to me and says, "You believed in me. You changed my life." It was Lakeisha. This is not necessarily a unique story. Many of us have learned how we have made a difference for students, but there are hundreds of students that do not have such an experience. Our vision is to create a culture so that every student will say, "You believed in me." A quote by Maya Angelou is very relevant in this context. "You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. In fact, it may be necessary to encounter the defeats so you can know who you are, what you can rise from, and how you can still come out of it." In the School of Nursing, we are seeking aspirational solutions. We want to improve equity and address systemic inequities in education. We will institute a new holistic admissions model with a mentoring program for retention. To grow our enrollment, we must develop pipelines, and those pipelines must be intentional to promote diversity. We will partner with our community colleges, and high schools. We'll work with entities such as the Genesee Career Institute and long-term care facilities. We will ensure the assembly of a diverse student body. In holistic admissions, the emphasis shifts from determining how successful an applicant will be as a student to looking at the contribution that that applicant can make to the profession while ensuring the rigor of the preparation. We will focus on intentional relationships with our practice partners. We want to ensure practice experiences that reflect the continuum of care, from hospitals to ambulatory care, to schools, to long-term care, to community service agencies. We are committed to fostering signature community engagement. Our approach will be co-design and reciprocity. We will work together to bring about a cultural shift in healthcare delivery to drive nurse recruitment and retention. Nursing education has always started with a foundation in the liberal arts, and we are committed to continuing to work with our colleagues in the College of Arts and Sciences. We will also co-design the curriculum with practice partners to ensure student learning and clinical experiences match the nursing job requirements and the realities of practice. We will focus on innovative modalities. It has been quite traditional in a program that prepares registered nurses to have a face-to-face curriculum, but this can prevent some individuals from pursuing the degree. So we will implement more flexibility by creating a balance of in-person and remote delivery for those students. We also are developing cognates and certificates by building them into the actual nursing degree programs or as standalone. This will allow nursing students or practicing nurses to specialize in an area of interest and stand out in the job market. Examples to show how relevant our proposed offerings are: we are considering interprofessional certificate in palliative care, a certificate in rural health, and a certificate for school nursing. We currently have 15 areas of emphasis. We seek support to grow this to 24. And keeping with our context of nursing, we will assess the vital signs of our School of Nursing plan. We will take the temperature, tracking the opinions of our students, community partners, and faculty as we move forward with these initiatives. We will check the pulse. We will gauge how well the expanded and new programs are working by tracking increased enrollment and improved graduation rates. We will do blood pressure reading, measuring the positive force and impact in our community and our students. And we will watch respiration. Are these changes breathing new life into our school? We acknowledge that we have a challenge ahead of us. We note the quote from John Lewis: "Take a long, hard look down the road you will have to travel once you have made a commitment to work for change. Know that this transformation will not happen right away. Change often takes time. It rarely happens all at once." The School of Nursing is ready for the road ahead of us, and we are committed to educating nurses to use their compassion and knowledge at the place where the hands of those that give care and those that receive care meet. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Donna Fry. Excuse me. Start over again. I'm Donna Fry, Dean of the College of Health Sciences. Our vision in the College of Health Sciences is that the University of Michigan is Michigan's premier institution for those seeking to enter health professions or advance their career. You'll see on the slide that I have both Flint and Ann Arbor mentioned. Ann Arbor, as an R1 institution, offers the large programs like medicine, dentistry, pharmacy, etc. We on our campus have equally strong programs. Our programs include at the bachelor's level, public health, healthcare administration, radiation therapy, respiratory therapy, and health sciences, which is a pre-professional program. At the master's level, we have public health, healthcare management, our physician assistant program, which will graduate its first students in April. And I want to give a shout out to Michigan Medicine They've rocked it with clinical rotations for us. At the doctoral level, we have a doctor of nurse anesthesia practice, a doctor of occupational therapy, which we recently added, and then 3 doctorates in physical therapy for entry level, transitional, and a PhD program. That's what we already offer. This plan is about what we hope to offer in the future. Our strategy in looking at the transformation process was first to address critical workforce needs in the health sector. As Dean McCurran said, there is a critical need for nursing, but really that need expands across the whole spectrum of health professions. And so I'm not going to go into more detail there other than to say thank you Huron Group, because they did some of the legwork for us in gathering the other data that we used. The other part of our strategy was really acknowledging who we are. We are the University of Michigan-Flint. We are a regional comprehensive university that was created in this town to bring that quality Michigan degree to the residents of this region. We embrace that, and you'll see that as I move forward. We thought of this in 2 different ways. In healthcare, we talk about career laddering. On the left side of the screen, you see an example of career laddering. One of the programs that we're currently working with and want to strengthen our relationship with is Genesee Career Institute. If you haven't been out to the Genesee Career Institute, which is a high school program offered by the intermediate school district, if you haven't been out there, you need to visit. It's terrific. They have great healthcare programming. We have developed pathways, and we plan to develop more pathways where a student can gain credentials at the high school level, then either come directly to us or go to Mott Community College and then come to us, laddering their skill level up. This gives the student an opportunity to earn money while they're going to school, because we all know, all of us in this room know that our students work. And I don't want my healthcare students flipping burgers. We want to create links where our students can get into the healthcare workforce, address some of that workforce demand crunch that the healthcare systems are having, and at the same time support themselves and build a career in healthcare. So that's one approach. The other, you see associate degree in there. We have great relations with Mott Community College as well as some other community colleges. We want to build on those relationships. Some of the programs that we are proposing are completion programs, degree completion programs. So somebody may get an associate degree at Mott or another institution, come to us for a bachelor's degree, a degree completion program. On the right side of the screen, you see the term Accelerated Pathway Program. This fall, we are launching an accelerated pathway program for occupational therapy and physical therapy. Those are both doctoral degree programs. We've designed a pathway where a student can enter as a freshman, take 3 years, and instead of waiting until their senior year to apply to the professional doctorate, they apply in their junior year. If they are accepted, it's a competitive program to get into, both of them. If they're accepted, then they can use some of the credits from their doctoral program to finish out their bachelor program. In essence, they end up completing the full set of programs in 6 years instead of 7, thereby saving a full year of tuition. These are the types of programs and the innovative thinking that we're using in the College of Health Sciences to help our students. We have other partners in the community. The Greater Flint Health Coalition is a great partner, and if you aren't familiar with it, if you're outside of the health sector, they pull together the health sector for our area and have meetings, and they're productive. So I was at one of those meetings and we were talking about the healthcare worker shortage. And I'm sitting there in my head thinking, well, I have students who need jobs and I really want them to have jobs over here in this sector. So can't we do something to make it easier for our students to get connected with these jobs? And they took me up on that, and we're in process of building this. And Penny and Shannon at the Greater Flint Health Coalition are the people working on it. They grabbed it, took hold of it, and our next meeting will be coming up shortly. We're going to put something in place to make that happen so our students get healthcare work experience as they're doing their health degree. So what are we doing in terms of programming? We plan to increase program enrollment in key high demand programs. We will be proposing new clinical programs in areas of workforce shortages. And we will propose new specialized programs at the intersection of healthcare and technology and healthcare and business. The College of Health Sciences has acted before. We have a proven track record at launching new programs. We can do this. And when we do this, it helps the rest of the university because our students take courses across campus. Thank you for your time.
Thanks so much to our deans for sharing their bold, dynamic, strategic transformation vision for a new University of Michigan-Flint. In total, our deans have proposed 34 existing academic programs to fully realize their potential and 57 new programs to be considered, launched, or tailored for new audiences. Programs that are candidates for prioritization for investment to support the growth of this university. So as we set the course for innovating and transforming our campus community, work with us in making this vision a reality. And in doing so, we will become that beacon of hope and light, which is at the very core of the founding of this university in 1965. And in the words of Nelson Mandela, it always seems impossible until it is done. Thank you. We will not, yes. So we will now open the floor for questions and answers. For our colleagues and friends that are joining us virtually, we will add 15 minutes overall for all of us for this town hall meeting. And for our colleagues that are joining us virtually, please include your questions in the chat, the Q&A feature of the live streaming. Thank you. So, ready for our first question.
Hello. Hello, how's everybody doing? My name is Shaquin Brown. I'm a senator here, but more importantly, I'm a major in political science and minor in communications and history. And listening to this project, it makes me hopeful for the dean's ideas, and I'm glad that everyone here got a chance to speak. However, with the exception of the School of Management, this may be seeming more like a wish list. When it comes to the projects of Huron analysis, we have still over the whole time of the beginning not got any specific data. Students have not got any specific data towards this project. And when it comes to the School of Education and Human Services, we have the dean herself mentioned that this school was decreasing enrollment, contradicting the Huron analysis first point of it saying it had low student demand. So it does not seem that the Huron analysis is going to, and overall in the long term, be good for certain departments and fields. My question is in order to make this project process more sustainable, more transparent, I want to see if later on, not today, of course, we be able to see the actual data behind the Huron analysis, so we can get more of an experience of what's going on behind the scenes, so students can be more informed in their own decision making.
Thank you for your question. And I will simply say that as we have been throughout this process, we will continue to be transparent. We have had a number of opportunities for information gathering and sharing, and we are continuing to move forward in that vein, making information available. We have open hours for town hall meetings, but yes, please know the information that we have available, we will share it and continue to share it with our broader campus community, including our students, as we have done in a number of town hall meetings and open office hours and ways in which students can share their thoughts, their questions, and their comments. So thank you for that question.
Thank you. I appreciate you answering.
You're welcome. Nick?
Hello, Nick Gasper. I am the Director of Online and Digital Education. Also, full transparency, member of ITAC. So first, I'd like to thank our academic leadership team for all the information and all the work and presentations you've been giving us today. Thank our friends at Huron for all the work you've been doing as well to help the university along. So my question is a little bit more, I'm actually question for the deans. If one or two of you could give us a sense of the role that Huron played in the data gathering and idea generation process, as well as the value that was provided in terms of the plans that you created.
Yeah, thank you, Nick. And
Yep.
again, I'm Chris Pearson, Dean of the College of Innovation and Technology. So the data that was provided by Huron specifically for my unit talked about the ability to acquire new students, new prospects, and how that is significantly different for undergraduate versus graduate programs, which is one reason why our plan is focused more at the graduate level. There is also data, of course, which we know that Huron didn't have to tell us about the number of people available in Michigan to become prospective students. So that also led to our understanding of expanding our market into the international student population. And they're also provided, market analysis, which we, had from before. Because we're a new unit, we were doing our market analysis prior as well, and understanding technology aspects like cybersecurity and the significant unfilled labor potential in that case. So that's how we've used it within the College of Innovation and Technology. But thank you for that question.
Absolutely.
Thank for the question, Nick. Those of you that know me, I've been an administrator at the School of Management for a long time, and I attend all of the orientations and the student recruitment events. And in my presentation, I tried to allude, how we arrived to the vision and the plans that we have, and all of the conversations that we had at the recruitment events and the studies that we have done, at the postings for jobs for business professionals, and the meetings that we had with other business deans. We regularly meet, once a year, and we talk about the trends, and AACSB, our accrediting body, also, gives us a lot of data on the trends in business. And how I found Huron's data useful is it was reaffirming what we see in, these through these anecdotal experiences.
Thank you.
And in the College of Health Sciences, they gave us a lot of information because I asked specific questions for them to dig for. One of the most helpful, I think, was that they brought a few ideas that we hadn't thought of, particularly as it relates to our healthcare administration area and what we might do jointly with the School of Management. And so that was very helpful. But beyond that, I started asking questions about, well, how would you structure this? Would you create a new degree program? Or would you create specializations within a degree program? So their feedback on that helped because they had the view of what's happening at other universities, how they're couching it or creating it and structuring it. So I found that information and feedback very helpful to the process.
Thank you.
Just quickly that,
Yeah.
education and social work has a big tent, right? And would I say that anything that they shared like was, wow, I hadn't thought of that, but I think about all this. And the information helped us to really focus and identify areas to concentrate and to start out on. And what I really like and applaud them for is sometimes things didn't quite resonate at first. And then they listened. And then when you asked and you gave, maybe you talked to these people, they really did respond with that. And I thought that that was something that should be applauded in this situation. So.
Thank you. Thank you for your transparency. Oh, Doug.
I just want to add one quick thing. I asked the leaders here at Huron if they'd ever hire anyone without a broad liberal arts education, and they said no.
Sorry, I feel left out if I don't get to speak too. But just on kind of a different context, I feel like we learned a lot from each other. And I happen to be very blessed to work in the profession of nursing at a national level and have a lot of awareness of what the circumstances are that are affecting our profession, and the ability to exchange and dialogue with Huron and sort of validate the perspective of what's going on, because data that's actually printed from 21 is not the reality of 2023 right now because it's evolving so quickly.
Right.
So I would say that I really appreciated their listening and us understanding together what our challenges were.
Thank you. Thanks. And I just say I'm excited and optimistic for the future of the institution. And I look forward to partnering with our leadership team as well as all of us here in the campus community to really drive these initiatives forward. So thanks again.
Thanks so much, Nick, for your question. Yes. Round of applause to our deans. So another question from our audience, and then we will solicit questions from our colleagues that are live streaming.
Good morning, and thank you for doing this report and these town hall meetings. My name is Jason Gooding, formerly of ITS, desktop supervisor, and currently the esports coordinator program for our Flint campus. One of the things I wanted to ask about, and if there's been any looking into as far as reaching students that are outside of our state, that would be my biggest question. One of the battles that I know we deal with as far as the state of Michigan is the reduced population, students coming or graduating from high school. And I deal with students in questions daily, 5 to 10, sometimes more, of out-of-state students that want to come to UM-Flint for an education. They've seen our College of Innovation Technology. They're excited. They may be an international student that wants to come in, but what holds them back is our double the tuition. And something that has puzzled me for years is that I don't understand why we would turn a student away at in-state rates. And when they could, that student would be willing to pay in-state rates to come to the U of M-Flint. But we'd rather say, no, we don't want your money. We don't want your registration. We don't want to teach you and provide you tools. And so that student will then go someplace else. And that, I know unless I'm wrong, that's kind of governed by our big brother in Ann Arbor. And being a regional campus, I don't understand why we would say no to a student when they're willing to pay and come to campus and experience what we have to offer. My role now is very much different than supporting most of the deans that are on stage and the chancellor and provost and those in the audience. And so I'm able to deal and talk to students on a daily basis and experience from their perspective of what they want and what they're missing. And it's giving me a different light. And one of the things that, as I just mentioned, is the out of state, but also making sure that we're providing resources for our students that we have given like a 2-year scholarship. I have a number of students that are very concerned that they are no longer going to be provided housing. They are losing their scholarships after that 2-year window and are now having to look elsewhere, either to transfer, to drop out of school, or not to pursue their degree tracks. And so on that aspect, I feel that we're setting some students up for failure, which is much different than I, as a staff member for the last 22 years here on campus, feel personally, I want to make these students succeed. And I take that as a blow to the heart that we tell students, you're welcome, you're coming to campus, we're providing you these resources, But after those 2 years, sorry, we're gonna pull that rug out
Yes.
from underneath you and now you're on your own.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question. And I will say that over time, that has been a concern that we have heard. And I know just in the time I have been here, I've heard the concern communicated over time. But as we're moving forward, we have had more recent conversations about things we can do to mitigate that. So I don't want to say exactly what it is, but we are addressing that concern. And as we prepare for fall 2023, you will see some differences in the cost structure for our students that are, outside of the state of Michigan. And so we're having lots of conversations. We know that this is a critical issue. We recognize that we are losing students to our competitors because they would like to come here, but they're having to pay double. So we are mitigating that issue. Stay tuned. Real soon, you will get additional information that speaks to the ways in which we're transforming that particular way of doing things. So thank you. I really appreciate your sentiments and your concerns. And I'd like for us to also begin hearing from
sorry,
our people live streaming.
I forgot to mention too, since you're all here and probably none of you have seen our space upstairs. It's right in this building. So I invite everyone to stop by and check out our awesome facility that's been provided by the university before you leave. So.
Thank you so much, Jason. Thank you.
So this question is for Dean Beth Kubitsky. Huron noted that there is a high demand for teachers, but insufficient demand for those positions. Is the issue that the pay for K-12 is not sufficient, or is there a different route to the issue? And can you speak to how we can help improve the attractiveness of these programs to new students through partnerships, legislature, and otherwise?
Thank you. And so I could take an hour to answer that. But I really appreciate the question. You're absolutely right that the teacher shortage is not because there's lack of availability of programs to develop teachers. The teacher shortage is because the teaching profession is not respected as much as it should be, nor is it taken care of. And that could be another entire sidebar conversation. But what we can do and what we're actively doing is trying to partner with districts and trying to help them with their grow your own and trying to identify students in their junior and senior year of high school and to try to provide a pathway for them to come to the university, and with efficient programs that they can get done and pay for minimal number of credits if they can get dual enrollment. To decrease the cost to them. The state of Michigan has actually dedicated $10,000 a year once you've gone past 57 credits. $10,000 a year. If any of you are changing career people, see me. And they will be, and it's a fellowship that you have to teach in Michigan for 5 years if you take the 30,000 to get forgiven. And if you don't, you have to pay it back, but it's a 10-year zero interest loan. The state of Michigan has decided, you know what, student teachers should be compensated because we're asking people to quit their jobs and be able to go into a classroom and act as a student teacher. And what they're doing is they're not quitting their jobs. So they're staying student teaching and they're trying to work and they're trying to do all this, and it makes it very hard for them to be successful. So the state of Michigan is paying them $9,600 to student teach. So the state has started to recognize this need for teachers, and we have to be available to have programs that allow for people to be successful and complete while taking advantage of those monies that are available. And I could go on, and I know that I wouldn't be loved by my colleagues up here if I did. But I hope that that starts to address the problem and the question, and I'd be happy to have sidebar conversations about this at state. Oh, and these fellowships and these rules, this is why being at the table at the state level is so critical for those of us in the know. We have to be at the table because decisions are being made. And if the decision makers don't have the right information, they can make rules, and I could go on a long list of things they tried to do that actually counter what we hope for with future teachers to remain quality teachers, not just anyone being a teacher. All right, I'll get off my soapbox. Thank you for asking.
The next question is from Aubrey Kraut. Has there been consideration of what student life opportunities and continuing support services we would need to not just attract students to our campus for the first time, but also to keep them here? We have a growing number of students that start here and then end up transferring elsewhere for a better college experience. We tend to create multiple recruitment projects and events to bring students to UM-Flint, but there is a lack of these proactive efforts to keep students here.
Yes, so I'd like to first of all commend the person who posed the question. It is a very, very important question. The phase one of this process is specific to academic programs. The phase two of this strategic transformation process will explore student success services as well as student life, and that will be led by Vice Chancellor Giordano. And so I would like to just reserve the response for that particular question for for our discussion regarding phase two, while also saying that it is critically important that we provide student life for our campus community and have a vibrant, dynamic campus experience, but more specific, detailed information about student life and the ways in which we create such for our students will be communicated in our phase two of this process. So.
Okay, our next question is probably for Doug, Dean Knurr. This is from Jasmine Marie Rulison. She says, the criminal justice major was briefly mentioned. I was curious how the degree would change or evolve. I started off my education at Mott and went from hands-on training and experience there to a more statistical sociology approach here. It seemed more like a criminology degree at UM-Flint.
Thank you for the question. I think that encompasses the challenge of transforming or thinking about curriculum into the future, and something that I mentioned about integrating both theory and practice. And one of the best experiences I've ever had is being involved in an academy called Bringing Theory to Practice. And it really addressed those issues of both the theoretical and the practical combinations. However, I would say that our intentions from our mission would be to not only think about those practicalities, but also think about the larger issues in society around justice that are that we need desperately to address in all disciplines, really, but in particularly that discipline. And the department that is housed in is renowned for its interdisciplinary approach and thoughtful consideration of not only practical measures for student success, but also the impact that students can have in ameliorating or calling our society to a higher purpose and moving it forward. I think that that's a hallmark of the mission of UM-Flint, is not only to provide practical training, but also to think about the implications of that and the way that we can transform that out into our community and out into our society.
Okay, our next question is from Jacob Blumner. The Huron slide on holistic synthesis and balanced portfolio framework lists 5 categories: employer need, market size, program demand, course popularity, and margin. None of these appear to include what the institution deems necessary for a comprehensive public institution, e.g. the U.S. political system, American literature. How do those pieces fit into this framework?
Yeah, and I think also.
So there are a few ways to think about that. One would be that the goal of the market analysis and the various forms in which it takes is to identify the trends that are affecting UM-Flint's enrollments and how academic program offerings relate to the potential for enrollment as informed by student interest for various types of offerings at the course level and at the program level. So I think what we saw in the analysis at the program level was where there's student interest is going, and as it relates to areas like what were the two examples? Government and democracy. Big, simple topics that literature. So what we saw in that context is that there is significant demand for courses in these areas. Students are interested in these topics. These topics are important to students, particularly as we heard from the deans about the desire to create programs that deliver well-rounded forms of education that allow students to access both the courses they need to develop soft skills, critical thinking skills that are really important to thinking about addressing being leaders in those spaces, as well as program demand that may sit at different levels, which is really the question about what majors, what degree offerings bring students in the door. So within those 5 factors, there are really 2 that get at what student interests, where student interest may lie. And thanks to the feedback that we received from many members who may or may not be in this room, are probably live streaming this, especially on members of the ITAC, is that it didn't always make sense to think about demand just at the program level. It also didn't make sense to just think about demand at the course level. Really, we need to understand both of those types of demand. So course popularity within students who are already enrolled, course demand for students who may enroll. And I think what we saw in both cases is there's different kinds of student interest related to those topics. And so what that means for UM-Flint is how can we leverage where there's strong program demand? How can we think about and leverage where there's strong course demand? And the course demand aspect is really what was the most compelling around those topics. Those are areas that are driving course popularity and driving course interest. So that's one way that those topics could be thought about. Is there a database on the importance of U.S. government courses in higher education? No. There isn't a database that we can pull from to answer that question in this way. That's why talking with the community has been so important. That's why we heard from and sought to hear from so many students and so many faculty members and employers throughout the community, so we can understand what kind of experiences related to these topics is important. And so hopefully as much as possible, that is borne out in the data, but as much as anything, that's borne out in the other more qualitative and atmospheric assessments that were enabled by the input from the community.
Other
Okay.
questions?
Our last question on Zoom is from Jerry Sanders. He addressed it to the Huron group specifically. Can you please provide the credit hours generated for the last fiscal year available, the average cost per credit hour and return on margin of the 6 units, and provide the information to ITAC for distribution to concerned faculty?
So this is two-part response. One is that I believe the data has been provided to ITAC, but we'll double check that. And secondly, this is a set of data that was provided and pulled together in concert with folks at UM-Flint. So it will of course involve some conversations. It's not our data. So it'll of course involve some conversations with the leaders we worked with to gather it and to organize it. But I do believe data along those lines has been provided. And so to the extent that there are questions for more data or refined views of the data, we're happy to, of course, think about those together.
Yes. Good morning.
My name is Mashari Riddle, and I would like to know if evening courses for undergraduate programs will be offered under the new strategic transformation, especially since your University of Michigan-Flint is not a traditional campus.
Yes, thank you. Excellent question. And one of the things we have talked about, we've talked a lot about multiple modalities, flexible modalities. And so with the information that we have, we make decisions about the times at which we should offer our courses. Some of the courses are during the day, some are in the evenings, some are synchronous and some are asynchronous. But at all times, what we're doing is thinking about our audience and our learners and what works best for them. And we will offer the courses accordingly. So I appreciate your question. All of our deans have heard your question. And as they are working with their leadership teams and their faculty to think about the courses, the modality, and as well as the best time at which these courses should be offered, we will do so with our non-traditional learners in mind, because we do recognize that as we grow and evolve as a campus community, more and more we're having the non-traditional learners, the adult learners. And in doing that, we know that we must attend to the needs of that student population. So stay tuned. I am almost certain that we will have those evening courses that accommodate the needs of our diverse student population.
Hi,
Yes.
I'm Q, Program Manager for the ICC. So I was just wondering, so when thinking about, as you all are going through your plans, which great job on that, like going through it. So this is more a question for the deans. Have you all had any plans or any thoughts as far as like addressing like climate issues within certain courses or more so departments? So when I think about fields like STEM or nursing, even as you're thinking about bringing diverse groups in, right? So you can get them in, but what specific like transformation initiatives will be going out to keep students here? So thinking about, oh, no pictures, please. No. When thinking about like campus climate and just different things like that, so you can get a student here, but what are the efforts and stuff to keep them here, as well as you're thinking about diversifying your programs, if that makes sense?
Yeah, that's a great question, actually. And you know, one of the things that we're very cognizant of when we were sharing our plan, you know, we made a significant stake in the international student market. But we understand that really this only comes with the support that we can provide through, you know, building up this community and providing housing support or scholarship support or internship support. So it's an enterprise, and you know, and thankfully the Center for Global Engagement has hired a new dynamic leader recently, and we've had some great conversations, and he's going to help us forward in that area. But I can't reiterate more with what you said. Without being able to provide a community within our areas, it's that, I mean, it goes synonymously with retention, right? Community gives you retention. So it's a fantastic question. That's just a tip of the iceberg of what we're trying to do in CIT. But thank you.
Thank you for the question. Also want to recognize the student government's recent message to the university leadership about more on-campus courses, and that assumes would hopefully get us to a better post-pandemic position where we know learning occurs everywhere. And that's the beauty of being in a university environment, is that you can learn from anyone, anytime, anywhere. But being here present, not only online, but also in person, and having that connection is really close to my heart, because that's how I learned best. And I feel very strongly across all of our programs that we have to be very intentional, not only from the academic point of view, but from the 360-degree experience of our campus and our neighbors and our campus community as well, to leverage the best of that and to think creatively and to think about fun and interaction and celebrating the diversity and the joy of the UM-Flint community.
Thanks so much. Excellent question. Other questions? We have sincerely appreciated this opportunity to share our exciting and bold strategic transformation plan. Together, we will. And I am so excited about the days that are ahead of us. Thank you so much for coming out, and thank you for our colleagues and friends that have joined us via live stream. Have a good day and be safe.